In the last section, we learned our first terminal command, touch, that we use to create a new file in our Cloud9 IDE. Obviously, we can do so much more than that, but it's always good to start small. Now, before we start experimenting with a few other commands, I'm actually just going to clear up some space here at the top of this file. And I'm going to insert a bit of vocab that we should be looking out for. And you'll notice as soon as I change the file, we get that white circle next to the name of the file, letting us know that it needs to be saved. There are changes that have not yet been saved. So at the top up here, I'm just going to call this terminology takedown, which we're just going to list out all of the tough terms that my students usually have a difficult time with. The first one, and I keep saying this again and again, I just want to make sure you know what I'm talking about here, is an IDE, or Integrated Development Environment. That's basically what we're using right here, and it's what Cloud9 is. We have our command line, or terminal, where we enter in commands to our computer and it responds with the appropriate response. We have a few that you're going to be looking out for: directory, shell, files, and GUI, which stands for Graphical User Interface. And it's what Cloud9 does not have and your general computer does. So I'm going to go ahead and press Control S or Command S and save this file, and we'll notice this white dot go away. Perfect. All changes are saved and we're ready to get going. Okay, now I think we're ready for our next command. This one will also look a little funky, but it makes sense if you sound it out. So I'm going to actually type it right below our current touch command, and this one is going to be called mkdir. MkDir, if you sound it out. And some of you might have figured it out already. That actually stands for make directory. So if I come into my terminal and I type in mkdir, and then the name of the directory, which I'm going to call learn-to-code, I can hit enter. And as soon as I do that, I see my directory appear in our file tree. Students like to point out that we can accomplish the same thing by right-clicking in the file tree and then selecting the proper command, new file or new folder. And that's absolutely true. Sometimes it's even easier. I can click new file here and say othernotes.txt, and it'll appear there as well. So why do we use the terminal? Sometimes the terminal is much more useful, and it's actually exceptionally more powerful than just right-clicking. A lot of times it just makes sense to enter your commands into the terminal. So I'm going to come back here and delete this txt file that I just made, othernotes.txt. I'm going to say remove, yes. And now I can actually drag this notes.txt file into the learn to code directory. So we do have a little bit of a GUI at work here. However, there's so much more to the terminal, and we're going to take a look at a few other things we can do with it right now.